But unfortunately, it's easier to pray and embrace whatever happens it's easier to pray and believe that in prayer you've turned everything over to God, and so whatever happens is the will of God, than it is to accept responsibility for the issue. Because sometimes the Lord does not want to answer the prayer to you. He wants to answer it through you. And he scolded the disciples for the smallness of faith when they didn't stop the storm and they asked him to. So don't be conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may approve the will of God. That word approve actually means to thoroughly examine and confirm it's authentic. That's fascinating to me. To thoroughly examine. Let's just say, since it's my story, that I'm an art appraiser. And I've studied my entire life. I've studied the paintings of Van Gogh. And I know every brush stroke. I know the history behind every painting. I know just everything about him. And so when anybody wants that painting to be verified, that it's authentic, they call me, and I spend time. I do the tests. I do all this stuff, and am able to confirm. So let's say that your great aunt died and left you her estate, and you go back into the bedroom and there is this painting, and it is signed Van Gogh. And it's not a print, it's actually with oils. So now, if it's not real, it's a copy, and it's worth maybe $50. If it's real, it's worth like $50 million. So you might want my opinion on whether or not it's the real deal. And so you bring it in for an appraisal. And so your whole family estate is hanging on whether or not I confirm that it's the real deal. And so I run it through all the tests. I come to this conclusion that what you have is actually a Van Gogh painting. This is an unknown Van Gogh painting that your aunt has held in secret for all these years. And you have something that is now worth tens of millions of dollars. Congratulations. Let's say that you have a problem in your body, and you have two very good friends, both very mature, they live in accountability, they live in community, they're very responsible people, and they call you on a particular morning, and they say, they call me and say, Bill, I had a dream about you last night. The first one called, said, I had a dream about you last night. The Lord appeared to me, and he told me to tell you this, that sickness that is in your body is allowed for a season, because I'm going to use it to touch the doctors and the medical people that are involved. And after I have used this sickness and this disease for a season, then I will visit you and I will heal you. And then I get another phone call, and a friend calls and says, Bill, I had a dream last night. In this dream, the Lord appeared to me and told me to give you this message, that this disease is not from him. And this Sunday morning as you worship, the Spirit of God's going to fall upon you, and that affliction is going to be broken off. I'd just been given 2 paintings. The renewed mind has to find out which one is the authentic. And so what you do is you go to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you read all the originals. And you go through and you find out Jesus had no toleration for affliction. He didn't approve of disease ever, even though there would be a righteous ending. Now, that's not to say God can't use something, but, let's be honest, he can use the devil. He can use the devil in his rebellion. He can use him as a chess piece on a chessboard. He can move him around however he wants. Sometimes, because of God's ability to use a problem, we have concluded that God approved the problem. And so, careful examination of all the previous paintings brings me to the conclusion that the first dream is not authentic. And it's important because the renewed mind has to give approval. It has to be able to give the amen so that what God has wanted to do actually gets done on the earth, gets done on the planet. We look at what has been decreed. And there are prophetic decrees, there are teachings, there are all kinds of things that have been decreed over our cities, over our lives, our churches, our family lines, all this stuff. And we are constantly given paintings. We're constantly given things to approve through the mind of Christ, whether or not that is actually a gift from God to us or if it's there to undermine. And it's vital that we learn through intimacy and through relationship, through encounter with God, we learn to sense and to feel His heartbeat. It's not just this. It's not just an attitude that we develop naturally against sickness or against poverty or against whatever. It's learning to hate what He hates because we've learned to love what He loves. And in that posture, you start to feel the actual heartbeat of God regarding a matter. If you've ever seen anybody die with cancer, die with any of these horrible diseases, I don't know how anyone could look at that and say, God gave that as a gift to the family to bring us closer together. Thankfully, He can use it to bring people together. But that is a devil. It is not from God. It is not from God. And it cannot enter the mind that that is okay. It cannot. We can rejoice that God has used it beautifully, brought healing to the family. Whatever He did, celebrate, because that's God's greatness, that's His bigness. But if we start compromising in the way we view reality to allow for that sort of thing to exist unchallenged, then we actually give place to a lie. And when you give place to a lie, you believe a lie, you empower the liar. Godly thinking is a weapon of warfare. It is what positions us to destroy realities in which the demonic realm exists.